The alarm screamed through the monitoring station like a dying animal. Officer Quan jumped from his seat, coffee spilling across the metal floor. His 3 eyes widened as he stared at the holographic display floating before him. Something was wrong. Very wrong. For 200 years, Quan had worked at this station on the edge of known space. Nothing ever happened here. That was the point. The outer rim was empty, quiet, safe. Until now. Commander, Quan shouted into his communicator. We have contacts. Thousands of them. The display showed dots. So many dots. They appeared from nowhere, emerging from the blackness of space like ghosts. Quan's hands shook as he tried to identify them. No transponder codes. No energy signatures he recognized. No match in the database of 847 known species. These ships were strangers. On the other side of the galaxy, Admiral Jiwan stood on the bridge of her flagship. The massive vessel hummed with power beneath her feet. She was 53 years old, but her body was stronger than most 20-year-olds. That was what 450,000 years of genetic refinement could do. Status report, she said quietly. Her voice was cold, sharp as broken ice. Captain Minho stepped forward. He was younger than Jiwan, with kind eyes that seemed out of place on a warship. All fleets are in position, Admiral. 8,700 vessels. 8.7 billion souls. We are ready, Jiwan nodded slowly. She walked to the massive window that showed the darkness of space. Somewhere out there beyond the stars was home. Earth. A planet she had never seen. A world destroyed before her ancestors were born. But she remembered. Oh, how she remembered. The memories were passed down through generations, burned into human DNA like a scar. 15 billion dead. Cities turned to ash. Oceans boiled away. Children screaming as the sky caught fire. Begin the broadcast, Jiwan ordered. Commander Bora's fingers danced across her console. She was head of intelligence and she had spent 30 years studying the enemy, learning their languages, mapping their weaknesses. Waiting for this moment. Channel open, Bora said. Jiwan took a breath. Then she spoke words that would shake the galaxy. We are the children of Earth. We have returned. You will answer for what you took from us. The message went out in 847 languages, every radio frequency, every communication channel. Across the entire galaxy, people heard it, and they froze. Earth. That word. Most species had never heard it. Those who had knew it only as legend, a myth, a cautionary tale told to children. Earth was the name of a primitive planet destroyed 450,000 years ago. Its people were extinct, gone, erased from existence, or so they thought. At the Concordance High Command, High Executor Velthar received the message. He was ancient even by galactic standards. 80,000 years old. He had ruled longer than most civilizations existed. He dismissed it with a wave. Pirates, rebels. Send a patrol squadron to deal with them. The patrol squadron consisted of 70 warships. They were proud, powerful vessels. Each one carried enough firepower to destroy a small moon. They approached the unknown fleet with confidence. Unidentified vessels, you are ordered to power down your weapons and submit to boarding, the squadron commander transmitted. Failure to comply will result in your destruction. The human fleet did not respond. Open fire, the commander ordered. Energy beams lanced through space. Missiles screamed toward the human ships. It was an attack that should have torn the enemy apart, but the weapons never reached their targets. They simply stopped, frozen in space. Then they fell apart, dissolving into atoms. What in the commander began. Those were his last words. The human ships didn't fire visible weapons. There were no explosions. No dramatic battles. One moment, the patrol squadron existed. The next moment, 70 warships turned to dust. 3.7 seconds. That was all it took. Back at high command, alarms screamed. Velthar stood from his throne, his ancient face finally showing fear. What happened? He demanded. They're gone, sir, a young officer whispered. All of them. Gone. On the human flagship, Minho watched the battle with a heavy heart. Did they have to die? He asked quietly. Jiwan didn't look at him. They fired first. They always fire first. But 450,000 years ago, our ancestors tried to talk to them. They were answered with fire. Jiwan's voice was hard. We will not make that mistake again. Bora pulled up ancient records on her screen. Images flickered to life. Earth as it once was. Blue oceans. Green continents. White clouds, beautiful. Then the images changed. Fire, death, destruction. It happened so fast, Bora said softly. First contact was made on March 15, 2157. By March 21st, Earth was dead. 6 days. That's all it took to murder 15 billion people. Minho stared at the images. He had seen them 1,000 times, but they never got easier. Why, he asked. Why did they do it? Because we were different, Jiwan answered. Because we adapted too quickly. Because we learned too fast. The Concordance decided humanity was dangerous. So they tried to erase us, huh? They almost succeeded, Bora added. Only 2.3 million humans escaped. One Ark ship, the Genesis fleet. They fled into dark space where no one could follow. Jiwan walked back to her command chair, and in the darkness we grew. We learned. We became strong enough to return. Young Lieutenant Daehyun stood at his station, hands gripping the controls of his fighter craft. He was 23 years old. He had never seen Earth, never breathed unrecycled air. His entire life had been spent on ships training for war. What happens now? He asked. Jiwan smiled. It was not a kind smile. Now, Lieutenant, we remind them why they feared us in the first place. Across the galaxy, panic spread like wildfire. News networks buzzed with speculation. Ancient history books were pulled from dusty archives. Scholars frantically searched for any information about Earth. What they found terrified them. Humanity hadn't just survived. They had evolved. For 450,000 years, they had one purpose, one mission, one burning desire: revenge. The human fleet moved forward, cutting through space like a knife. They were heading toward the heart of the Concordance, toward the place where the genocide was ordered, toward justice, or was it vengeance? Minho wondered if there was a difference anymore. He looked at Jiwan's face and saw no mercy there. Only rage refined over countless generations. In the ship's archives, Dr. Sunmi reviewed the old records. She was a historian, keeper of human memory. Her job was to remember, to never forget, to make sure future generations knew what was done to their ancestors. She pulled up one final image. Earth from space. Not the burning wreck it became, but Earth as it was before. Home. A tear rolled down her cheek. The galaxy would soon learn what happens when you try to destroy humanity. They would learn that humans never forget. They never forgive, and they never ever give up. The war hadn't even truly begun, but it was already over. The Concordance just didn't know it yet. When humanity disappeared for 450,000 years, the hidden Earth fleet returned for vengeance, Doctor. Sunmi stood before the camera, her hands trembling. Behind her, holographic displays showed images that made even hardened soldiers look away. The truth about Earth's death was about to be revealed to the entire galaxy. My name is Dr. Sunmi, she began. Her voice was soft but clear. I am a human. My people were murdered 450,000 years ago. Today I will show you why. Commander Bora had hacked into every communication network in the galaxy. Every screen, every display, every device now showed the same broadcast. No one could turn it off. Everyone would see. The first image appeared. A human city gleaming in the sunlight. Towers of glass and steel reached toward a blue sky. Children played in parks. People laughed. Life was normal. This was Seoul, Sunmi said. Population 12 million. It was a center of art, science, and culture. Watch what happened to it. The image changed. Fire rained from the sky. Buildings exploded. People ran, screaming. Then there was nothing but ash and smoke. 12 million voices silenced in minutes. Across the galaxy, people watched in horror. Young Counselor Thexra of the Kaldeshi species felt sick. She had never seen anything like this. The Concordance was supposed to keep peace. This was genocide, Sunmi continued. First contact happened on March 15, 2157. The Trellick people visited Earth. We welcomed them. We shared food, music, knowledge. For 3 months, we learned from each other. We thought we had found friends among the stars. Another image. Humans and aliens standing together, shaking hands, smiling. Hope in their eyes. Then the Concordance learned about us. Sunmi's voice broke slightly. They studied us. They ran tests. And they became afraid. A document appeared on screen. An official Concordance report. The words were damning. Subject: Threat Assessment of Species Designation Human. Conclusion: Humanity adapts and innovates at an exponential rate. Their technological advancement exceeds all known patterns. Recommendation: Immediate extermination before they become uncontrollable. Approved by High Command. Execute within 1 standard week. At Concordance High Command, High Executor Velthar watched the broadcast with growing anger. "Turn it off," he ordered. "We can't, sir," a technician replied nervously. "They control our systems. We're locked out." Sunmi showed more footage. Human colony ships being tracked through space. One by one, they were destroyed. Families killed as they slept. Children who would never grow up. Dreams that would never come true. 15 billion humans lived on Earth and in the colonies, Sunmi said. In 6 days, 700,000 of them were killed. The Concordance was efficient. They were thorough. They were merciless. Counselor Thexra began searching through the ancient archives. What she found made her hand shake. The genocide wasn't hidden. It was documented, celebrated even. Internal memos praised the successful removal of a dangerous species. But there was more. 94 species had voted against the extermination. They had argued for peace, for diplomacy, for a chance. They were overruled. The powerful species wanted humanity gone, and what they wanted, they got. Thexra found something else. A small group of aliens had tried to warn humanity. They had sent secret messages. "Flee, they are coming. Save yourselves." For this crime, they were executed. On the human flagship, Captain Minho watched the broadcast with tears streaming down his face. He had seen these images before, but they never got easier. Behind him, young Lieutenant Daehyun stood frozen, his face pale. "Is this true?" Daehyun whispered. "All of it?" "Every word," Minho replied. "Every image. This is what was done to our people." Sunmi's broadcast reached its conclusion. Only 2.3 million humans escaped. One ARC ship, the Genesis fleet, fled into dark space using an experimental faster-than-light drive. The Concordance thought they destroyed us. They were wrong. The image changed again. This time it showed the dark space region. A vast emptiness where stars didn't shine, where no species had ever gone. "In the darkness we survived," Sunmi continued. "We built new ships. We advanced our technology. We trained our children, and their children, and their children's children. For 450,000 years we had one purpose, one mission." Her voice grew harder, colder. "We promised ourselves we would return. We promised our dead we would not forget them. We promised that justice would come." The final image appeared. The human fleet as it was now. Thousands of ships, billions of people, technology so advanced it seemed like magic. An army born from survivors. A civilization forged in exile. "We are here," Sunmi said. "We are the children of those you murdered. And we will have justice." The broadcast ended. Silence fell across the galaxy. Then chaos. At High Command, Velthar stood slowly. His ancient body moved stiffly. "This is ancient history," he declared to his council. "These events happened so long ago that everyone involved is dead. We are not responsible for the sins of our ancestors." "But sir," one counselor began nervously, "they clearly hold us responsible." "Silence!" Velthar roared. "We will not apologize for maintaining galactic stability. Humanity was a threat. The Concordance did what was necessary. Commander Bora intercepted that transmission. She broadcast it too. The entire galaxy heard Velthar's words, heard his refusal to accept responsibility, heard his justification of genocide. Admiral Jiwan smiled when she heard it. "Perfect," she said. "He just gave us permission." "Permission for what?" Minho asked, though he already knew the answer. Jiwan turned to face the crew. Her eyes blazed with rage contained over countless generations. "Open a channel. All frequencies. Channel open," Bora confirmed. Jiwan's voice rang out across the stars. "High Executor Velthar, you say you are not responsible for the sins of your past. You say everyone involved is dead. You are wrong on both counts." She paused, letting the words sink in. "The Concordance still exists. The same government that ordered our extermination still rules. The same laws that condemned us are still enforced. You inherit the power of your ancestors. Therefore, you inherit their debts." At High Command, Velthar felt a chill run down his spine. "You refuse to accept responsibility," Jiwan continued. "You refuse to acknowledge your crime. Very well. Then you will die for it." The transmission ended. On the bridge, Daehyun felt his heart pounding. He had been born in space. He had never known peace. His entire life had been preparation for war. But now that war was here, he felt afraid. "Admiral," he said quietly, "what about the innocent? The species that voted against the genocide? The civilians who weren't even alive when this happened? Jiwan looked at him. For a moment, her expression softened. Then it hardened again. Our ancestors asked the same question, Lieutenant. They begged for mercy. They were shown none. Minho stepped forward. Admiral, we are not them. We can be better than what was done to us. Can we? Jiwan's voice was bitter. For 450,000 years we have lived with this pain. Every generation carries the memory of what was lost. Every child is taught about the billions who died. This is who we are now, Captain. This is what they made us, Bora interrupted. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission. It's from someone called Counselor Thexra of the Kaldeshi. Put it through, Jiwan ordered. A young alien face appeared on the screen. Thexra looked nervous but determined. Admiral Jiwan, my name is Thexra. I have been investigating your claims. Everything you said is true. The genocide happened. It was sanctioned by the Concordance. It was wrong. Jiwan said nothing, waiting. But please, Thexra continued, not all of us are guilty. My people voted against your extermination. 94 species tried to save you. We are not your enemies. Then stand aside, Jiwan replied coldly. This does not concern you. It concerns all of us. Thexra pleaded. If you destroy the Concordance, billions will die. Innocent billions, Jiwan leaned forward. 15 billion of my people died. Where was your concern then? The transmission ended. Minho moved to Jiwan's side. She has a point. So did our ancestors, Jiwan replied. It didn't save them. The human fleet pressed forward. Behind them lay the destroyed patrol squadron. Ahead lay the heart of the Concordance. War was coming, a war 450,000 years in the making, and the galaxy trembled. The nexus point was the most important location in the galaxy. 5 major trade routes met here. Control the nexus and you controlled galactic commerce. High Executor Velthar knew this. That's why he sent 127,000 warships to defend it. Fleet Admiral Hyejin commanded the defense force. She was from the Vortan species, tall and proud. She had won 43 battles in her career. She had never lost. Today she was confident. Today she would teach these humans a lesson. All ships in position, her second officer reported. We outnumber them 15-1. Hyejin nodded. Send a message to the humans. Tell them to surrender or be destroyed. The message was sent. On the human flagship, Captain Minho received it. He looked at Admiral Jiwan. She smiled. Respond, Jiwan said. Minho opened a channel. Fleet Admiral Hyejin. This is Captain Minho of the human fleet. You misunderstand the situation. This is not a battle. This is an execution. Hyejin's face appeared on screen. She laughed. Brave words for someone about to die. You are outnumbered and outgunned. Surrender now and perhaps we will show mercy. Mercy? Jiwan spoke from behind Minho. Her voice was ice. That's an interesting word coming from you. Did your ancestors show mercy to Earth? Hyejin's smile faded. I am not my ancestors. No, Jiwan agreed. But you serve the same government. You follow the same laws. You benefit from the same power. That makes you complicit. Last chance, Hyejin said angrily. Surrender or die. Jiwan's eyes narrowed. We choose neither. All ships execute Protocol Omega. Hyejin gave the order to fire. 127,000 ships launched their weapons. Millions of missiles. Thousands of energy beams. A wall of destruction that should have ended the human fleet instantly. The weapons never reached their targets. Human ships released a wave of something invisible. It moved faster than light. When it touched the Concordance missiles, they simply stopped existing. The energy beams scattered like light through a prism. What was that? Hyejin shouted. Analysis. Unknown, Admiral, her science officer replied, hands shaking. Our weapons are having no effect. Then the humans attacked. Specialist Teijin sat at his station, fingers moving across holographic controls. He was humanity's best cyber warfare expert. For him, enemy computer systems were like open books. He dove into the Concordance network. I'm in, he said calmly. Uploading the virus now. Across the enemy fleet, ships began turning on each other. Targeting systems failed. Weapons fired at random. Ships that moments ago were allies now destroyed each other. Chaos spread through the Concordance lines. Shields down on sectors 7 through 12. Someone on Hyejin's bridge shouted. Restore them, Hyejin ordered. We're trying. The system won't respond. Wing Commander Nari launched her fighter squadron. 2,000 small, fast ships that moved like extensions of their pilots' thoughts. Human neural interfaces meant they could react faster than any biological creature. They were death incarnate. Lieutenant Daehyun flew beside her. His fighter responded to his thoughts instantly. He targeted an enemy battleship. His weapons released nanoswarms, tiny machines too small to see. They touched the enemy hull and began eating. The battleship's hull simply vanished atom by atom. In seconds, there was nothing left but debris and screaming crew members floating in space. Target destroyed, Daehyun reported. His voice was empty. He felt nothing. He had been trained not to feel. Other human ships fired gravitational lances. These weapons bent space itself. Enemy vessels were crushed by their own gravity, folding into impossibly small points before disappearing entirely. On Heejin's flagship, alarms screamed. "We've lost 40% of the fleet," an officer shouted. "They're not just destroying us, they're erasing us." Heejin stared at her tactical display in disbelief. This couldn't be happening. She commanded the largest fleet ever assembled. She had every advantage. Yet they were losing. No, not losing. Being massacred. "Retreat," she ordered. "All ships, full retreat." It was too late. The human fleet surrounded them. There was no escape. On the human flagship, Commander Bora watched the battle with cold efficiency. "Enemy fleet is contained. They have nowhere to go." "Continue the attack," Ji-won ordered. "No survivors," Minho stepped forward. "Admiral, they're trying to surrender." "They're defenseless." "So is Earth," Ji-won replied without looking at him. The slaughter continued. Ship after ship vanished. Thousands of lives ended in moments. The Concordance fleet, the pride of the galaxy, ceased to exist. 47 minutes. That's how long the battle lasted. 127,000 warships reduced to debris. Only 39 ships escaped, fleeing into deep space. The human fleet didn't chase them. They had made their point. Ji-won ordered Bora to broadcast the battle footage across the galaxy. Every species would see. Every government would understand. Humanity was not the weak victims who died 450,000 years ago. They had become something else. Something unstoppable. In his cabin, Daehyun removed his flight helmet with shaking hands. He had killed today. Killed thousands, maybe tens of thousands. He thought of the families of those he'd destroyed. Children who would never see their parents again. Parents who would never see their children. He wondered if this was what his ancestors wanted. If 15 billion dead humans were watching from wherever the dead go, were they proud? Or were they ashamed? A knock on his door. Nari entered. Her face was pale. "Are you okay?" she asked. "I don't know," he admitted. "I thought I would feel something, victory, justice, satisfaction, but I just feel empty." Nari sat beside him. "Me too. I was told all my life that this was our purpose, that we were born to avenge our ancestors. But now that we're doing it, it just feels like murder." "Don't let the Admiral hear you say that," Daehyun warned. "I know. But Daehyun, what are we becoming? We say we're better than them. But are we?" He had no answer. On the bridge, Minho confronted Ji-won. They were alone. The rest of the crew had been dismissed. "You didn't need to kill them all," Minho said quietly. "They were surrendering." "Yes, I did," Ji-won replied. "Every ship we spare is a ship that might kill us tomorrow. Or every ship we spare is a species that might become our ally." "Admiral, we're not just fighting a war. We're deciding what humanity will be. What do you want our legacy to be?" Ji-won turned to face him. Her eyes were tired, so tired. "I want our legacy to be survival, Minho, that's all. Just survival. At what cost?" She looked away. "Any cost." Across the galaxy, panic spread. The footage of the battle was broadcast everywhere. Species that had felt safe under Concordance protection now realized the truth. No one was safe. Humanity was coming, and nothing could stop them. At high command, Velthar watched the destruction with growing horror. "How?" he whispered. "How is this possible?" His chief scientist answered nervously. "They had 450,000 years, Executor. While we were comfortable and stagnant, they were evolving. They turned survival into an art form. War into a science. They are what we feared they would become. Then we make them fear us," Velthar decided. "Activate the temporal weapons." The scientist paled. "Sir, those weapons are forbidden. They're too dangerous. They could tear apart the fabric of space-time itself." "I don't care," Velthar snarled. "If we're going to die, we take them with us. Activate the weapons." "That's an order." Bora's sensors detected the energy signature immediately. "Admiral, the Concordance is activating something. It's massive. Energy readings are off the scale. Jiwan studied the data. It's a temporal weapon. They're trying to erase us from time itself. Can they do that? Minho asked. They can try, Jiwan said. Taijin, can you stop it? Specialist Taijin's fingers flew across his controls. Working on it. Their security is strong, but I'm better. Minutes passed. Tension filled the bridge. The temporal weapon was charging. If it fired, no one knew what would happen. Got it, Taijin said finally. Weapon disabled. And Admiral, you need to see this. He brought up data on the main screen. The temporal weapon wasn't the only one. The Concordance has 47 doomsday devices hidden throughout the galaxy, each one aimed at civilian populations. If triggered, they would kill 400 billion beings. Silence fell on the bridge. Even Jiwan looked shocked. So this is the Concordance, Minho said bitterly. The government that claims to protect peace. They're holding the entire galaxy hostage. Jiwan set her jaw. Taijin, can you disable all the weapons? Yes, but it will take time. Do it, she ordered. All of them. Now. The human fleet set course for Centrum Prime, the Concordance capital. The final battle was coming. But now they knew the truth. The Concordance wasn't just guilty of genocide. They were monsters willing to destroy everything rather than lose power. And humanity was coming to stop them. The human fleet traveled through space toward Centrum Prime. Inside the ships, arguments raged. What started as whispers in corridors became loud debates in mess halls. The younger generation was questioning everything. Lieutenant Daehyun stood before a group of pilots in the common room. We destroyed 127,000 ships, killed millions. For what? Revenge? For justice, Colonel Young-ho interrupted. He was older, his face hard. Those ships served the same government that murdered our ancestors. They were all guilty, were they? Wing Commander Nari asked. Most of them weren't even alive 450,000 years ago. They didn't make the decision to attack Earth. Why should they die for it? Young-ho's eyes blazed. Because they benefit from it. Because they live in the galaxy our ancestors died to build. Because if we don't destroy them, they'll destroy us. The room erupted in argument. Half the pilots agreed with Young-ho. The other half sided with Daehyun. The fleet was dividing. In her lab, Engineer Juno stared at the designs for the planet-killer weapons. She had helped create them. Weapons that could destroy entire worlds in seconds. Clean, efficient, absolute. She had been proud of her work. Now she felt sick. What have I done? She whispered. These weapons could kill billions. Children, families, people who had nothing to do with the ancient genocide. People just like her ancestors had been. A message arrived on her console. It was from Commander Bora. Report to the bridge immediately. Juno arrived to find Captain Minho and Bora waiting. We have a visitor, Bora said. On the screen appeared a face Juno didn't recognize. An alien. Young, nervous, but determined. This is Ambassador Sujin of the Kaldeshi, Minho explained. She's been investigating the genocide. She wants to talk. Sujin took a breath. Captain Minho, Engineer Juno, Commander Bora. Thank you for seeing me. I know I have no right to ask for your time. My species did not stop the genocide. We are guilty by inaction. Then why are you here? Juno asked coldly. Because I found something, Sujin said. She shared data files. Records of the vote that condemned humanity. 94 species voted against the genocide. They argued for peace, for diplomacy. They were overruled. More files appeared. There were also individuals who tried to warn your ancestors. They sent secret messages. They risked their lives. 37 of them were executed for treason. Minho studied the data. His expression softened. I didn't know this. Most don't, Sujin said. The Concordance buried it. They wanted everyone to believe the decision was unanimous. But it wasn't. There were good people who tried to save you. Then they failed, Juno said bitterly. Yes, Sujin agreed. They failed. But they tried. Doesn't that matter? What do you want from us? Bora asked. Sujin looked directly at the camera. I want to offer an alternative. Not extinction. Not genocide. But justice through truth and reform. Put the guilty on trial. Dismantle the corrupt government. Build something new. Something fair. And you think that's possible? Juno asked. I think it's worth trying, Sujin replied.
Killing billions won't bring your ancestors back.
It will just create new victims. New orphans. New rage that will last another 450,000 years. The transmission ended. The three humans sat in silence. She has a point, Minho said finally. Meanwhile, in a secret section of the ship, Dr. Sunmi sat in the memorial chamber. Holographic images surrounded her. Earth as it was, people who died long ago, children playing, families laughing. All gone, she came here often. It was her job to remember. But sometimes the memories were too heavy. The door opened. Admiral G1 entered. She rarely came to this place. It hurt too much. Admiral, Sunmi said, standing. At ease, Doctor. G1 walked to a particular image, a woman holding a child. Do you know who this is? No, Admiral. Her name was G1, my name. This photo is 450,000 years old. She was one of the last people to leave Earth. That child in her arms was her daughter, my ancestor. Sunmi looked closer. The woman's face was scared but defiant. She was protecting her child even as the world burned around her. She survived, G1 continued. Got her daughter onto the Ark ship, then went back for others. She died in the bombardment, saving people she didn't even know. For the first time, Sunmi saw tears on the Admiral's face. I carry her name, G1 whispered. I carry her memory. But Doctor, what would she want? Revenge or something more? Sunmi didn't answer. She couldn't. Captain Minho found them there. Admiral, we need to talk. The crew is divided. We need to make a decision. G1 wiped her eyes. What do you suggest? A vote, Minho said. Let the fleet decide. Do we pursue total destruction? Or do we pursue targeted justice? Democracy, isn't that what humans were known for? G1 looked shocked. A vote on war strategy? On who we want to be, Minho corrected. Admiral, we've spent 450,000 years preparing for this moment. But we never asked ourselves what happens after. What kind of civilization do we want to build? At High Command, High Executor Velthar was panicking. The temporal weapons were disabled. The human fleet was approaching. His government was falling apart. We need to negotiate, an advisor suggested. Never, Velthar shouted. We do not negotiate with terrorists. They're not terrorists, the advisor said quietly. They're victims. Victims we created. Velthar stared at him. Then surprisingly, he slumped. What do they want? Justice, accountability, change. Velthar made a decision. He would offer surrender. Not real surrender, but something that looked like it. He would buy time. Find a weakness. Strike back, he broadcast a message. To the human fleet. I am High Executor Velthar. On behalf of the Galactic Concordance, I offer unconditional surrender. We acknowledge the wrongs done to your people. We will face justice. Please, no more death. The message was perfect, humble, apologetic, exactly what someone seeking peace would say. But Bora was too smart. She intercepted internal concordance communications, messages between Velthar and his generals, plans for a counterattack, orders to appear weak while preparing a trap. It's fake, she reported to G1. The surrender is a lie. G1's face hardened. Of course it is. They haven't changed at all. She called a meeting of all senior officers. The vote would happen. But first everyone needed to see the truth. The holographic conference, room filled with hundreds of faces, captains, commanders, engineers, doctors, everyone, who had a say in humanity's future. G1 stood at the center. We have reached a decision point. The Concordance has offered surrender, but Commander Bora has discovered it's a trap. They intend to strike us when we lower our guard. Angry voices erupted. Colonel Young-Ho shouted above them all. Then we destroy them. All of them. We were right to trust no one. Wait, Daehyun said. The leadership lied. That doesn't mean everyone is guilty. Ambassador Sujin showed us there are good people in the Concordance. People who want change. Sujin could be lying too, Young-Ho countered. They're all liars. Ji-won raised her hand for silence. That's why we're voting. Captain Minho has proposed two options. One, we destroy Centrum Prime and any world that resists. Total war until the Concordance is extinct. Two, we conduct surgical strikes. Remove only the leadership. Put them on trial. Give the rest a chance at reform. Prime historian Kyungmi stood. She was ancient even by human standards. She had lived through countless generations. May I speak? Of course, Ji-won said. Kyungmi's voice was soft but carried weight. I am old. I remember stories my grandmother told me. Stories her grandmother told her. Going back through the generations to the first survivors. Do you know what they said? Everyone waited. They said, don't become like them. Don't let rage consume you. Stay human. Silence fell. What made humanity special wasn't our technology or our weapons, Kyungmi continued. It was our compassion, our ability to forgive, our belief that everyone deserves a chance at redemption. If we lose that, we lose everything that made us worth saving. Young-ho looked angry, but he said nothing. The vote will be fleet-wide, Ji-won announced. Every person over age 16 gets a say. We will tally the results in 24 hours. Whatever the majority decides, we follow. That's democracy. That's what humans do. The voting began. Across the fleet, billions of humans made their choice. In corridors and cabins, in mess halls and engineering bays, people debated and decided. Daehyun voted for targeted justice. Nari did too. Young-ho and many older soldiers voted for total war. Engineer Juno stared at her console for an hour, before finally choosing targeted justice. 24 hours passed. The results came in. Bora read them to the bridge crew. Targeted justice, 51%. Total war, 49%. The fleet was divided almost perfectly down the middle. Humanity itself was at war with its own nature. Admiral, Minho said quietly, it's your call now. You cast the deciding vote. Ji-won sat in her command chair. The weight of 450,000 years pressed down on her shoulders. 15 billion dead demanded justice. But what kind of justice? Vengeance that would spawn new horrors? Or mercy that might build something better? She thought of the woman in the photo. Her ancestor. The original Ji-won who died saving strangers. What would she choose? I need 24 hours, Ji-won said finally. The hardest decision in human history would be made tomorrow. Centrum Prime filled the view screen. 10 billion beings lived on that world, the heart of the Concordance. The place where the genocide was ordered so long ago. Admiral Ji-won stood alone in her quarters. She had not slept in 24 hours. Around her were images of Earth, the planet she had never seen, the home she would never know, a soft knock on her door. Come in, she said. Captain Minho entered. He looked tired too. Admiral, it's time, I know. Ji-won turned to face him. Minho, what would you do if you were me? He considered carefully. I would ask myself what our ancestors would want. Not the ones who died in rage and fire, but the ones who lived in peace. The ones who built art and music and science. The ones who believed in hope. And what would they want? I think they would want us to be better than their killers. Ji-won smiled sadly. But what if being better means being weak? What if mercy is just another word for suicide? Is that what you believe? She looked at Earth's image. I don't know what I believe anymore. Suddenly alarms blared. Bora's voice came over the comm. Admiral to the bridge. We have a situation, they ran. On the bridge, chaos. Officers shouted reports. Screens flashed warnings. What's happening? Ji-won demanded. Bora brought up sensor data. Colonel Young-ho has taken control of 3 planet-killer weapons. He's locked us out of the systems. What? Minho's face went pale. Where is he? Weapons Bay 7. He has 50 soldiers with him, all hardliners who voted for total war. A transmission came through. Young-ho's face appeared on screen. Admiral, I'm sorry, but you're making a mistake. The vote was wrong. Mercy will destroy us. Colonel, stand down, Ji-won ordered. That's a direct command. I can't do that. In 30 minutes, these weapons will fire. Centrum Prime will be destroyed. Then we'll move to the next Concordance world. And the next? Until they're all gone. You'll kill billions of innocent people, Minho shouted. There are no innocent people in the Concordance, Young-ho replied coldly. They all benefit from our genocide. They all share the guilt. I'm finishing what we came here to do. The transmission ended. Ji-won made a decision instantly. Lieutenant Daehyun, take a strike team, stop him. Use whatever force necessary. Yes, Admiral. Daehyun gathered Wing Commander Nari and 20 loyal soldiers. They moved fast through the ship's corridors. Weapons Bay 7 was sealed. Heavy blast doors blocked the entrance. Breach it, Daehyun ordered. Engineers worked quickly. The doors exploded inward. Daehyun's team rushed through. Young-ho's soldiers opened fire. Energy weapons lit up the bay. Daehyun dove behind cover. Next to him, Nari returned fire with precision. 3 of Young-ho's people went down. Colonel, Daehyun shouted. This is insane. We're fighting each other. Then join me, Young-ho called back. Help me finish this. We can end the Concordance today. By becoming murderers? By being survivors. Young-ho fired his weapon. The shot barely missed Daehyun's head. In 450,000 years, what did you think we would become? Saints, we're weapons, Lieutenant. Weapons forged in darkness. It's time to do what we were made for. The firefight continued. More people fell on both sides. Nari took a hit to her shoulder but kept fighting. The clock was ticking. 20 minutes until the weapons fired. Meanwhile, from the surface of Centrum Prime, a transmission reached the fleet. It was being broadcast publicly. The entire galaxy was watching. Ambassador Sujin stood in a crowded square. Behind her, thousands of aliens held signs that read, "We are not our ancestors." Justice, not genocide. Peace is possible. People of Earth, Sujin said, her voice shaking. We know you have every right to hate us. We know what was done to you cannot be forgiven. But please hear us. We want change. We want justice. We want to build a galaxy where genocide can never happen again. The crowd behind her chanted, "Never again. Never again. Never again." On the bridge, Jiwon watched. Minho stood beside her. Admiral, High Executor Velthar is activating the Doomsday device in Centrum Prime's core. If he can't rule, he'll destroy everything. Jiwon's eyes widened. Taejin! Specialist Taejin was already working. I see it. Trying to disable it, but his security is good. I need 5 minutes. You have 3, Jiwon said. In Weapons Bay 7, Daehyun made a desperate move. He charged forward, using his neural interface to move faster than normal humans could. He reached Youngho's position. They fought hand to hand. Youngho was older, more experienced. But Daehyun was younger, faster. They crashed into control panels. Sparks flew. Why? Daehyun gasped as they struggled. Why can't you see that this is wrong? Because I remember, Youngho shouted. I carry the memories of what they did. Every generation we pass down the pain. I feel their deaths like they're my own. How can you forgive that? I'm not forgiving it, Daehyun said. I'm choosing to be better than it. He managed to pin Youngho down. Nari rushed over and disabled the weapon controls. Weapons offline, she reported. Centrum Prime is safe. Youngho looked at Daehyun with tears in his eyes. You're making a mistake. They'll kill us all. Maybe, Daehyun said. But at least we'll die as humans, not as monsters. On the bridge, Taejin shouted with relief. Got it, the planet's weapon is disabled. But he kept digging through the concordance systems. His face went pale. Admiral, there are 47 of these weapons, all aimed at civilian populations across the galaxy. If someone triggers them, 400 billion people will die. Can you disable all of them? Jiwon asked. Yes, but it will take hours. If Velthar realizes what I'm doing, he might trigger them all. Jiwon made her decision. She had been thinking for 24 hours. But in this moment, everything became clear. Open a channel. All frequencies. The entire galaxy. She walked to the center of the bridge. Stood tall. This is Admiral Jiwon of the human fleet. For 450,000 years, my people have lived with one purpose. Revenge for the genocide committed against us. The galaxy listened. Trillions of beings watched and waited. We returned with the power to destroy you all. We could wipe out every concordance world. We could repeat what was done to us. Make you feel our pain. She paused. But we won't. We didn't survive 450,000 years just to become another genocidal empire. We are better than what was done to us. Justice is not the same as revenge. Youngho, being dragged away in restraints, shouted in disbelief. Minho smiled with tears in his eyes. Here is what will happen, Jiwon continued. We will conduct surgical strikes against Concordance leadership and military command. Only those directly responsible, High Executor Velthar and his inner circle, will be captured and put on trial. The rest of you will be spared. We are also disabling the 47 doomsday weapons your government hid throughout the galaxy. Yes, we know about them. Your leaders were willing to kill 400 billion of you to maintain power. That ends now. On Centrum Prime, the crowd erupted in cheers. Sujin fell to her knees, sobbing with relief. Jiwon's voice grew stronger. This is not mercy. This is justice. The guilty will face trial. The corrupt government will fall. But the innocent will live. Because that's what makes us different. That's what makes us human. She looked at Minho. He nodded. Begin operation, Jiwon ordered. All strike teams move in. Targets are leadership only. Minimize casualties. This is a liberation, not a slaughter. Human ships moved with precision. They struck command centers, government buildings, military headquarters. But not homes, not schools, not hospitals. In 3 hours it was over. The Concordance leadership was captured, 3,712 individuals in total, including High Executor Velthar, who was found hiding in a bunker beneath his palace. They brought him to the human flagship in chains. He was ancient, powerful, and now completely defeated. He faced Admiral Jiwan across a table. "You should have killed me," Velthar said bitterly. "This mercy will destroy you." "Maybe," Jiwan replied, "but we're willing to take that chance. You will stand trial for genocide. You will face justice, and you will spend the rest of your very long life remembering what you did." She stood to leave. At the door, she turned back. "You were afraid of what humanity could become. You were right to be afraid, but not for the reasons you thought. We didn't become destroyers. We became something you could never understand. We became better." That night, Jiwan stood in the memorial chamber one last time. The images of Earth surrounded her. "Minho found her there. Was it the right choice?" she asked quietly. "I think so," he said, "but we'll never know for sure. That's the burden of mercy. Revenge is easy. Forgiveness is hard. Justice is somewhere in between." She looked at the image of her ancestor, the woman who died saving strangers. "I hope she would be proud." "I think she is," Minho said. The galaxy began to rebuild. The Concordance fell. In its place, the Galactic Union formed, a democracy where all species had equal voices, where power came from consent, not fear. The human fleet began preparations for their next journey. They had one more destination, one more place they needed to see. Home. After 450,000 years, humanity was finally going home to Earth.